So we're just going to give you a brief overview of the agenda. After our intro, we'll dive into Valentine's Day strategy for 2015, talking specifically about retail and e-commerce strategies that we think pack a punch and will really help you optimize your customer engagement and revenue this season. We'll dive into some key segments, leveraging purchase history and other customer data to help you optimize your message and target the right people at the right time. And of course, talking about all those kind of message differentiators, the kinds of things that we see working across the landscape, particularly at this time of year, and also obviously timing. So we also have a nice little contest in place. Obviously, you see our hashtag data-driven-love below. We're going to run a little tweet contest, and we've got some really fun prizes. So first place, based on engagement and just insights and questions that you might want to share using the hashtag and our Twitter handle Windsor Circle. First place gets you a $200 gift card to the restaurant of your choice to use on Valentine's Day. So this could be, going solo, taking family and friends out, taking your special loved one, your partner, any restaurant will do, wherever you live. So that's first place. Second place, of course, is going to be a really fun Valentine's Day gift basket. This we've sourced from a number of Windsor Circle clients that sell a wide variety of fantastic products, everything from wine to chocolates, and other great giveaways. So valued over $100. And real quick, just my one slide about Windsor Circle. We are a customer retention and predictive marketing platform. We do this by integrating e-commerce platforms, so everything that you see here from Magento to Nido, Hybris, ATG, Volusion, and more, plus custom built, or in-house e-commerce platforms. We take that, we augment it with other data, and then we actually push it into the email marketing platform that a retailer uses to communicate with their customers to allow you to do very personalized, targeted, relevant, and segmented messages. And we actually have a team that goes in and helps every retailer build out that lifecycle marketing campaign within the first month of working with Windsor Circle. And so without further ado, let's talk Valentine's. Polly?
Thanks, Andrew. So we're going to talk a little bit today about the Valentine's Day strategy. But before you can talk about the strategy itself, it's good to understand Valentine's Day by the numbers and the data behind it. So as most of you are already aware, Valentine's Day is highly competitive time for retailers. It's the first kind of thing after the holiday season and your first push for the year. So really, there's a couple of things to be aware of. 59% of shoppers say they prefer to buy their Valentine's Day gifts online. So for all your online e-commerce stores like yourselves, this is a great thing. This is a great sign. Also, 58% of shoppers say that retail websites and online ads will influence their Valentine's Day purchases. So what this is really saying is that shoppers want to be told what they should be purchasing and they want to be sold to, but in a way that isn't pushy. So with so much going on in such a competitive time, how can retailers stand out in a crowd? And the answer there is really using data to engage with your customers. So if you have product purchase and customer data, all of a sudden you can create these personalized, targeted messages to really make your customers feel special and come back and visit you. So when you're thinking of your Valentine's Day strategy, there's about three things that are really the key elements. So first is your segments. What are your key segments? What is your customer base made up of, and how are you going to market to them? So that includes your messaging. So how does your messaging change as you get closer to Valentine's Day? Does it change between segments? What's your theme? And then also the timing. So how often should you engage with each segment? Is it different for each person or each base, excuse me? So this image on the right is kind of depicting that piece. So segment A here has very specific messaging and timing, while segment B and C have different messaging, but their timing's the same. So really taking a overarching look at your customer base and how those segments play out is really important when developing your strategy.
So let's talk about some of the key segments that we think is really important for your Valentine's Day communications. So there's 7 that we have identified here. These are all data-driven. So these are things, segments that are built leveraging purchase history data, behavioral data, and other kind of customer attributes. So looking down the list, last year's Valentine's Day buyers. These are folks who obviously purchased last year, 2014. We consider the time period between January 15th and February the 14th as sort of your Valentine's Day season. So this is one of what we actually consider the 4 kind of low-hanging fruits. There's 7 segments that we're talking about here that we'll go through, but if you only had time to really pick 4 of them, this is one of those 4. The second one we consider low-hanging fruit are your first-time buyers from November through December. So this is holiday 2014. These are the people who made their first purchase and have only ever made one purchase from you to date, and they did it during the last holiday season. These are your brand new shoppers. They've recently had a holiday experience, and Valentine's Day is really a great excuse to target them and try to convert them into 2x buyers. Here at Windsor Circle, our whole focus is on retention. We see retailers who are winning in the industry today have a maniacal focus on getting more value from their existing customers, because obviously once you've paid to acquire them, they're much more profitable if you can work them through the funnel. So now is a really great time to try to work on converting those one-time buyers from last holiday season into 2-time buyers. Now, your best customers, for many retailers, this is a smaller segment, but is incredibly valuable. Best customers will often make up a very, very large portion of your revenue, even if they're only a small percentage, perhaps 2 to 5% of your customer base. This season, they really need to be rewarded for who they are. They've shown loyalty to you over time. They make frequent purchases. They've purchased recently. They probably even purchased from you during the holidays. And they've spent a lot of money over their lifetime. So Valentine's is a time to show love, and you will continue to get love from this customer segment. Now, your churning customers are people who at one point, they used to love you, and recently they just haven't been purchasing. So these are folks who used to be considered and potentially were in your best customer segment, but recently you haven't seen them. So Valentine's Day, again, for this particular group is a really great time to re-engage them, express that you miss them, and get them to come back into the fold so that you can rekindle that loving relationship that you once had. So this is actually a screenshot from Windsor Circle's retention analytics dashboard. We build a number of segments, including the ones you see here, automatically leveraging all that customer purchase history and product data. So I'm going to focus on the bottom 4 here that are relevant in this webinar, and particularly during the Valentine's Day season. So again, we mentioned 2014 first-time holiday buyers, your Valentine's Day buyers from last season, so January the 15th through February the 14th, your churning customers and your best customers. And when you look at these metrics, this is just from a kind of an average retailer, you'll see some interesting things. Your one-time holiday day buyers, 22% of all customers in this particular retailer's database, purchased recently during the holiday season. Their average order value and their customer lifetime value is, kind of in their middle, but they haven't really proven that they're going to be that they're going to have high lifetime value because they haven't progressed through the funnel. So you can see, obviously, there's no latency, which means the days between purchases. So you want to focus on driving this segment into the second purchase. Just some other things that I noticed kind of by looking at a lot of the data from our client base. A fair number of folks actually do shop during the Valentine's Day period, regardless of whether the retailer is, selling things that are sort of traditionally thought as Valentine's Day goods. President's Day in the U.S. falls right around the time of Valentine's Day, so that obviously drives sales. And retailers that are doing a good job engaging their customers at the beginning of the year tend to see that really carry through the rest of the year. So you'll see the lifetime value of folks who bought in the Valentine's season is twice that of your holiday shoppers. So again, indicators that this is a really good segment to focus on. Your churning customers, however, you'll see that they had a high lifetime value but have really long latency. So for this particular retailer, 336 days have passed for that segment for the median customer in that segment before they made a purchase. So we'll talk about how to kind of target some of those segments, and Polly's going to talk here about the last year's Valentine's Day buyers.
Yep. Thanks, Andrew. So as Andrew just mentioned, we're going to talk a bit about your last year's Valentine's Day buyers and really bringing them back to the fold for that second purchase. So this is fairly simple to do in your email marketing platform. It's a simple date range. So anyone who purchased between January 15th of last year and February 14th of that year as well. So when you're looking at this group, it's really important to get the messaging right, acknowledging that they came and saw you last year. So here's to another Valentine's Day together. Will we see you again this year? Will you be my date? Things like that are a great way to sort of play on that relationship you sort of built last year and you want to continue this year as well. So looking ahead at a couple emails, this is an email from Surf Stitch, and they did a great job here with the hero shot of asking, will you be our Valentine? Showing that they actually really appreciate this person and want to see them again with a 30% off coupon. And the piece that I found really fantastic is this value add that they had at the bottom. So nobody likes to wrap presents. It's always a pain and it's always last minute. So wouldn't it be great if someone just did it for you? Well, Surf Stitch understands that, and they said, hey, we'll wrap up your Valentine's Day gift no problem because you're a special customer to us. So that was a really great thing. So adding value that isn't necessarily monetary, but offers something else is really important as well. Another example is this email from Lavazza, and this is sort of just a product promotion email. So what could they do to really turn this into an email for last year's Valentine's Day buyers? There's sort of two key pieces that pop out to me. The first is updating the text. So something like, hey, you shopped here last year. Can we be your date again this year? We hope it was special, things like that. And then also updating the offer. So changing it to something that goes along with the product that you're trying to push. So yeah, you're buying a coffee maker. Obviously, you want some coffee to go along with it, because who wants a coffee maker if you don't have anything to make with it? So just a couple things to be aware of there. It's very easy to take a promotion that you've already created for your Valentine's Day promotions and then segment it a little more and change the messaging to really give that extra punch for this particular segment. So Andrew's going to talk a little bit to you about the procrastinators and how to handle that whole group as well.
I think this is a segment that probably accurately describes me around Valentine's Day, and many other folks I'm sure listening can relate. So a lot of our customers are what we call procrastinators. These are folks who wait till the last minute to buy. We see this repeatedly, particularly during the holiday season, and it really shows up over Valentine's too. So incredibly important segment to focus on for this particular holiday. And there's kind of two different types of procrastinators and two ways you can find them. So the first is to look through purchase data. So look at the most recent date of purchase and find the folks last year who waited until February the 6th to make their Valentine's Day purchase, and obviously made that by Valentine's Day on the 14th. Right. So these are folks who, are likely to, kind of sat on their hands for a while before they, press the checkout button on their computer. Now, there's also some rush shippers, and these are folks who actually paid for rush shipping since February 1st. So if you can access that shipping data, and if that's tied into your e-commerce platform, a software like Windsor Circle can actually pull it into your ESP and allow you to find that segment as well. So what do you do with these procrastinators? Well, the first thing, you got to offer help. And so this is a really nice email that clearly, promotes a particular product that is probably of the right size, that, will make shipping fairly easy. They've got this last chance language, the $10.99 or $10.95 flat rate shipping for arrival by Valentine's Day. So making it really simple. I think one thing that you'll find with procrastinators is you just got to recommend them the one thing or the basket of things that they should buy. Because again, they're not going to take a lot of time to go and sift through your inventory and try to pick out something that makes sense. Here's another one from Wine Country Gift Baskets, a different type of design here, but again, they're really targeting that kind of Valentine's gift package or gift basket approach. We definitely recommend for retailers, for whom maybe shipping can get expensive, think about packaging a selection of items where the shipping isn't an enormous portion of that order, and it's something that can really kind of compel the visitor to turn into a purchaser and get that gift for their friends, their family, their loved ones.
So another segment we're going to touch on is your best customer segment. And Andrew spoke to this a little bit earlier, but this segment may be a small portion of your overall customer base, but they make up for that with spending a lot of money with you guys. So it's really important to pull this group out and really just show them the love, as Andrew was saying. So if you're a Windsor Circle client, you actually have the segment already pre-built in your email marketing platform, just kind of ready to go. But I'm going to walk you through how you would do that if you don't have access to that already. So basically, you need to do an export from your e-commerce platform into an Excel document. And you can kind of visualize it as there's three columns. So column one is, and this is RFM analysis, so recency, frequency, monetary analysis. So column one would be the number of days since last purchase, so your recency column. Column two would be your frequency, so the number of orders. And then column 3 would be your monetary, so the total money spent over the customer's lifetime. So what you'd want to do was, for starters, you'd sort column 1 by most recent to less recent. And then you divide your entire customer list into 4 sections. So that top quartile would get a rank of R1. The second quartile would get a rank of R2, so on and so forth. You would then do the exact same thing for your frequency. So that top quartile again would get a rank of F1, second quartile would get F2, and for the monetary value, you guessed it, it's the exact same thing. So what you do then is you look for anyone who has a ranking of R1, F1, M1, and that's your best customer segment. So if you were just looking to do something for this Valentine's Day, this would be a way that you could pull out your best customers even today if you want to do so.
Polly, just to break in, I got a just question that popped through by chat, which actually reminds me, everybody on the webinar, you're welcome to just start posing questions to us throughout. We can address them as we go. But a question about, are there other ways to calculate best customers besides RFM? And I think we see a lot of retailers choosing to do it based on threshold amounts or including that as part of the calculation. So saying, hey, a best customer, it really only becomes a VIP if their total lifetime spend has been more than, $500 or more than $1,000. There are other behavioral things that you can add in there too. So if you're able to track, social engagements or even, browse behavior, these things can be added into the mix because, sometimes your best customers are not just the people who spend a lot of money or shop with you frequently. They're the people who are your evangelists, your frequent visitors, your social sharers. So there are definitely other ways that you can kind of go to that advanced or next level of best customer identification.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Andrew, for that. So moving along in the best customer world. So what do you do with your best customers? As we've said, sort of time and time again now, you want to make them feel special. So this email right here is a great example of that. Happy Valentine's Day. Why? Well, because we love you. So here's 25% off, no strings attached. We hope to see you there. So this email does a great job of that. This next one by Gaiam is interesting. So this just for you, save 20. It has that exclusivity language, which is really great to use with your VIP clients. However, I would recommend that this actually be used with your, all of your customers. So the just for you language. And then for your best customers, you add in an extra little snippet. So here they would get a free set of yoga blocks if they ordered before the 13th of February. So just like a little extra love and freebie that could be thrown in for your best customer segment. So when you're kind of going through and designing emails with your best customer segment in mind, just really think on what would make this extra special? What is the value add? And the thing here that's really going to make them go, wow, that company is just so awesome. I'm so happy I shop with them all the time.
Yeah, and Polly, that's just actually back up to that slide. I think that's a great illustration again of what we see a lot of successful online retailers doing with this kind of segmentation approach is taking some of their better content that they normally would send to their entire list and introducing these dynamic elements or these segmented elements to enhance that experience or personalize that experience for the given segment, as you mentioned earlier. So we'll talk about products for a second too, because obviously Valentine's Day lends itself to certain products over others. Now this is an obvious example, a retailer who is selling chocolates and other candies. But I do want to interject here that we see Valentine's Day as a great opportunity for any retailer, regardless of what you sell, to leverage these kind of techniques, target these segments, and promote them products that you think that they're going to love. This is all about data-driven love. So it's about recognizing that your customers have preferences, and that Valentine's Day is a great day to treat yourself as well as your loved one. And for some people, coming in and buying a great new utility belt or a polar fleece jacket is just as exciting as getting a 28-piece of heart-shaped chocolate. So just want to mention that before we kind of dive in here. But with this example, this is a screenshot of our product, analytics dashboard within the Retention Analytics suite. And there are a couple of things that you'll notice for this particular retailer. So the 28-piece heart collection kind of jumped out to us as something that, was high revenue, and associated most importantly with really high lifetime value. So while the item above, the 9-piece truffle collection, was actually a higher revenue generator during the Valentine's period that we looked at from last year, we would actually recommend really leading with this 28-piece heart collection just because it's associated with such high CLV. So really emphasizing promotions of products, not just on revenue numbers, but also accounting for customer lifetime value. Another one that we notice here, this 5-piece sea salt caramels, we think is really interesting. So when you're looking for upsells or kind of additional promos or those last-minute gifts for procrastinators, you want to, again, find things that are connected to high lifetime value and also high retention rates. So you'll see this column for percent retained. These two are really valuable. So when assessing kind of your product promotions and your offerings or your upsells and cross-sells, you want to take into account things beyond, price, margin, and revenue, and also be thinking about the associated lifetime value and percent retention. So just a reminder too, we've got some tweets going on if you follow the hashtag data-driven-love and obviously at Windsor Circle. And just a reminder, we've got 2 really fun prizes for folks. The bar is low, so we'd love for you to engage and share some thoughts and insights, particularly about what your business is doing or trends that you've seen. And we'd like to share our love for you for being part of that conversation socially. So we're getting close to the end of the webinar, so we're going to kind of wrap it up with some timing and then some great examples.
Yeah. So on the timing front, I'm sure that this is sort of top of mind for a lot of people as we're getting into those last 2 weeks before Valentine's Day. And we've talked about 7 segments total for kind of key ones. And that's a lot to sort of take in. So the easiest way to think about that as 2 groups. There's your high engagement group, which includes your best customers, your procrastinators, last year's buyers for the Valentine's Day season, and biggest ticket items that have a cross-sell opportunity. So these are people that you can actually email quite a bit without the fear of them unsubscribing. They want to hear from you. They think you add value and they like and they buy a lot from you as well. The low engagement segment is the other side of the spectrum, and that's your one-time purchasers who, have purchased from you once. They're not really sure yet if they're going to come back again. Your churning customers who've dropped off the map for whatever reason, and then your subscribers are non-purchasers. So they're waiting for something, but they haven't made that purchase yet. So you don't want to push them too hard. So really, if you look at it from that side of things, there's sort of 2 groups to be aware of. So ramping up in, obviously, we're the end of January now. So when you're thinking about this, for February, you want to go 3 to 4 emails for your high engagement and maybe 2 to 3 for your low engagement groups over the course of the next 2 weeks. And one really important thing to remember is that you want to create a suppression list. So any customer who purchases from January 15th this year to February 14th of this year as well, to this Valentine's Day, needs to be suppressed. So as these emails are going out, say you send one on Tuesday and someone makes a purchase and you send another email on Wednesday, you want to make sure that they're not getting another email to buy at that time. So really making sure that you have that up to date as well is really important. So as I mentioned, today is the 28th, and this was a calendar for January 2015. So hopefully you've done a little bit of Valentine's Day promoting at this point. If not, no worries. It's definitely not too late. But just something to keep in mind, for next year, for January 2016, that you really want to start kind of throwing in some Valentine's Day language as early as the 14th of January. So you give people a nice little break after the holidays to kind of collect themselves and then get them ready for the next one as well. So we're going to walk you through the next 2 weeks because that's the most relevant at this time and most actionable. So what Andrew and I have done is put together sort of a calendar of promotions and emails that you can be sending. So on Tuesday the 3rd, that'd be a great time to do a segmented promotion. So what that means would be something like you saw with the Gaiam or Lavazza emails. There's one general promotion that's going to your purchasers, and then you pull out your one-time 2014 holiday buyers and last year's Valentine's Day buyers. So those segments would get different messaging, same timing. So for the one-time 2014 holiday buyers, you'd really want to thank them for shopping with you over the holiday season and remind them of what they purchased. So using dynamic product images and then also any accessories. So say someone bought a TV, you could sell them the new Blu-ray to go along with it. So, snuggle up with a movie on this new Blu-ray this Valentine's Day with your loved ones or what have you. For your last year's Valentine's Day buyers, sort of what we talked about already, here's to another Valentine's Day together. Like, will we be seeing you again? I sure hope so. Things like that. So that's sort of your game plan for the 3rd.
So looking at next Wednesday, the 4th, this is an opportunity to send 2 email campaigns to 2 very specific segments, your best customers and your churning customers. So those would be 2 different email content. The messaging for your best customer segment should be really about making this Valentine's Day special for your best customers. You can offer them, for example, a threshold-based discount. So this might be save $50 if you spend $150, or maybe it's a special gift. So if you spend $100 or more, we'll send you that that utility belt, or we'll send you that new polar fleece hat, right? Or it could be something branded from your company. We've seen a couple folks do some really nice things, sending out branded tote bags, pint glasses, for example. It doesn't necessarily have to be one of your products, but it can be something branded. Now, for your churning customer segment, this is a really important time to give them the messaging that will remind them of the relationship that you once had and encourage them to come back into your warm, loving embrace. So some examples here, our Valentines would be more special with you around, those kind of things. The traditional churning customer automated email that we see a lot of retailers use these days, has the language of, we miss you, is this the last time? Valentine's Day allows you to tweak that and make it really specific about this special holiday. And again, a reminder, I'm really harp on this. Make sure you have that suppression list in place for all these programs. So if somebody does make a purchase since January 15th during this Valentine's Day season, you remove them from this cadence.
Yeah, so on the 5th, this is fairly simple. You'll just do a general promotion. So this is just going to all of your customers. Anyone who's purchased, they get an email that's promoting any of your Valentine's Day products. Maybe there's a certain product that you want to push that's high margin, or has some great accessories that you want to kind of bring up down the line. This is also a really good time to remind people about shipping options and specials. And particularly this Valentine's Day, since it falls on a Saturday, shipping deadlines are really important. So you want to make sure that everyone who hasn't purchased knows that they don't have as much time as they think to get whatever they need by Saturday, February 14th.
So looking at the final week, the week of Valentine's Day, this is what we call a segmented promotion opportunity on that Monday the 9th. So essentially you'd be sending one general message to your entire list, so one campaign, but you're going to create a variation for your big ticket segment. So the campaign should focus, include your Valentine's Day messaging, maybe a static product recommendation based on that product analysis. You can go the extra mile and do a dynamic product recommendation that would be based on all of your customers' purchase history. But specifically for your big ticket spenders, again, we're going to target customers who have purchased product X, so product X being a high value item that has what we call cross-sell opportunities associated with it. So maybe those are products Y and Z. So as Polly mentioned, maybe it's the large TV, and the cross-sell opportunity is the Blu-ray device. So you probably have different options within your own product inventory. And you want to position these cross-sells as the product recommendation just for this segment. Wrap it with that kind of Valentine's Day love theme. But it's kind of a nice way to really call out a key product that you think can be a driver for additional purchases that has a lot of associated and correlated buying opportunities with it, and really push that out.
So on the 10th, you'll want to target your procrastinators. We're kind of getting down to the wire, and most likely they haven't made a purchase by this time. So it's a great time to sort of remind these guys that it's time to get out there. So messaging is don't delay, helpful reminders again about shipping, and also any gift basket items that you have, things that you can push that are super simple, already wrapped, ready to go, can just be delivered to the door, and also e-gift card options. That will come into play kind of later as well. But here's a great time to mention if you do have those. Maybe they're procrastinating because they don't know what someone would like. Well, there's an easy option. Get them a gift card and they can pick themselves.
And looking at Wednesday the 11th, this is a great opportunity to do essentially a resend to your best customer segment, maybe escalate the messaging. You sent to them earlier on Wednesday the 4th, and so 1 week out, it's a great time to remind them about that best customer offer that you gave to them. So these are highly loyal customers. They're not going to mind getting 3 or 4 emails from you a week, particularly in the lead up to Valentine's Day. They likely really enjoy and appreciate your products, and so they'll be thankful that you reminded them of a great offer. And of course, you're going to be suppressing people who have already made their purchase. So some of your best customers will already have been part of that group by now.
And so for the last day before Valentine's Day, it's really another general promotion. So this is for anyone, again, who has not made a purchase yet. So just remember that suppression list is in play here. So this is your time to highlight any remaining items that could be shipped overnight, so any gift basket sets, and then also promote your e-gift cards in a very serious way. One thing that you can do here as well that's pretty cool is if you have access to geographical data, you know where people obviously living or getting things shipped. So you can also segment out people who can receive things overnight versus people who wouldn't be able to get something in time. So all of a sudden you have two segments. There's a segment who can get items that can be shipped and a segment that should just get e-gift card emails as well. So this is sort of your final push for those people who haven't gotten around to doing anything yet.
And then, of course, Valentine's Day, February 14th. This is a campaign that you should be sending to all of your customers and I'd say your subscribers, so you don't need to do any suppression here. Great opportunity to send, Valentine's Day card or maybe a link to a video card. Be clever, be engaging, be funny. We've seen folks do really fun things like, show great photos of their team or the founder, do kind of, heart-shaped things with their products. I mean, if you arrange any product in a certain way or picture it from the right angle and use some Photoshop, you can make pretty much anything look like a heart, I think. But it's a great moment to share love with your customers. An optional segment you can do is for your best customers, give them a variation of this email that actually includes a special gift. And if you want to go to this level, we actually recommend giving them something of value without any requirement, to purchase, something additional. So, a $10 or a $20 e-gift card is a special reward because guess what? They're going to come back. They're really going to appreciate this. They're going to shop with you. They'll likely they'll put additional items in their cart. And in the long run, this will pay off big time in loyalty, lifetime value, and referrals. So we're at the end of our webinar, right about 2:30. So again, we've got our 7 segments that we touched on today. We're kind of looking at our Q&A feed, and I've got a couple that are already coming through. So just a reminder, for those of you who do have questions, just go ahead and use the chat function, and we will get to them. You can also download our Valentine's Day ebook, which includes a lot of the topic areas we talked about today, shows a few more examples, and gets into some details about the segmentation rules. And so all that's available at windsorcircle.com/vday2015. And that page includes a number of other resources, some great blog articles, and additional content. So with that, let's take a look and see what came in. So here's a question. We touched on this a little bit, but just somebody, can you go a little bit deeper on suggestions for retailers who don't sell products that have obvious Valentine's Day flair? I think that, we're seeing people do promotions over Valentine's Day that really emphasize that sort of self-love and self-care theme. So yoga mats, for example. I mean, you can tell people that the new yoga blocks or yoga mats, are a great way to sort of carry on that self-love and self-care, and Valentine's Day, what better excuse to do that than then? If you're selling electronics or furniture or, home and garden goods, again, think about, how do you connect the product to somebody's hobby or interest and passion, and that itself, people who like to, pot plants, I mean, that's a passion, is love. So you can go and sell pots and make that part of the Valentine's Day theme. So I think, be creative, recognize that, there's always an emotional component to buying. And so Valentine's Day, let's talk about that emotion of love and connection and loyalty.
One other thing that I've seen a couple of our clients do too, which is pretty interesting, is making it more about giving back. So doing, 20% off something, and half of these proceeds are going to an organization of your choice. So nonprofits. So pulling in sort of like, we're giving love to our community and to other people as well, is a great way to be creative with that as well, particularly if your product maybe doesn't have, isn't flowers or chocolate or jewelry and things like that. So definitely one way to look at that.
So second question, we've just got 2 more. How would you manage a cadence that includes President's Day as well, if that's your strong focus?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think if you're trying to do both President's Day and Valentine's Day, that seems a little much. So really, it's kind of combining the 2 into one campaign. So as you're going through the Valentine's Day, or in this case, maybe President's Day is your main focus, whichever holiday is your main focus, pull in the other as a theme in maybe an email or 2 and mention it. If you're doing a Valentine's Day email, make sure to mention you're doing a President's sale on that Monday afterwards. Have any coupon codes, stop that Saturday night. So then all of a sudden you have a fresh start. for that Monday as well. So really, it's about tying the two together instead of overloading everyone with emails. One thing to think about, if you do have very separate customer groups, so say you have people who only shop President's Day and people who only shop Valentine's Day, then you might want to look at that. But otherwise, yeah, I would just try to combine the two as much as possible.
And then one more question that we've got right now. So again, just a reminder, you can use that chat function if you any other burning questions, and we'll get to it. Otherwise, we'll wrap up with this one. How exactly do I build these segments is the question. So again, this is there's two paths to this, right? One is you can extract the purchase history data, so last order date, total spend, specific SKUs purchased, and make sure that that's mapped to your customers' email addresses. You can pull that from your e-commerce platform and essentially import it into your ESP. So most email marketing platforms have custom fields available to you. So what Windsor Circle does is make this an automated process. So we're actually going in and through, whether it's an API or a plugin or a nightly data feed, we have a guaranteed way to get that data, extract it, cleanse it, deduplicate it, do the important things to it to make it actionable and usable in the email platform itself. And so, some of the key fields that you're going to need, obviously, is a custom data field in your email platform that is date, last date of purchase, so the most recent purchase date. Another field that is the total number of purchases, and then obviously a field that is the ranking, the customer ranking or score. As Polly talked about RFM analysis, that's the way that we do it here. So if you just imagine that you'll have, a couple dozen of these custom fields in your email marketing platform, then you'll leverage your ESP's native segmentation capabilities where you're going to go and actually build the segments using that data. So we can get into a lot more detail, particularly if there's a specific email tool that you have questions about or specific data you're trying to get to. Again, our team is always available. We're happy to do demos or just kind of more consultative phone calls. And you can get at that just by going to our website, windsorcircle.com, and click that Get Started button. So with that, I don't see any other questions. So we're gonna wrap it up. We will be sending out this deck by email. So everyone's got it. We'll also have the recording online. We are going to announce our Twitter winner by email as well. So you've got a couple more minutes to go and add to that data-driven love hashtag because again, it's $200 to any restaurant of your choice or $100 gift basket. So get on there, engage with us. Thank you again for attending. Retain more customers with data-driven love. We hope you crush it this Valentine's Day season. Show love to your customers. You'll get it back. And again, thank you for joining us. Have a good day.